Hi there everyone. Welcome to our very first Janome live event. We are really excited to be here today, and I am very excited to show you one of my favorite apps that we have, AcuSketch. It's a really fun app and we get a lot of questions about it, so we thought what better way to share with you what the app does and a little bit of some of our favorite features of the app in a video format that you guys can follow along with. We're really excited to show you this. We'll also be using AccuEdit today as we do our project. We have got people coming and joining us from all over. I will be showing you the app today and walking you through the different settings and different things that we can do with it. We also, and my name is Erin, so I work with in the marketing department, but I may have met you at some point as a Janome educator at one point. I've been with Janome for a while now. We also have Anne joining us, and she will be joining us as well to kind of help answer questions within the comments. So you'll be able to see her over there in our comments too, and I'm going to try to be watching that as well as we go along. So again, we're really excited to have you be here today with us. Let me walk you through some of the supplies that I'll be using today first. And those supplies are going to be the iPad, and we will also be utilizing the AccuEdit and AcuSketch apps, and then any drawings that you would like to use. Now, we have put a drawing on our blog for you. It's the same drawing I'll be using today. And towards the end, Anne will also be putting up a link to some other drawings we made available for you guys to kind of play around with and build your own things as you get to practicing with our AcuSketch app. So let's go right now to the iPad and check in and see where we are with that. All right, so now we're in our iPad, and we can see that I've got my Janome apps here up at the top. Today we'll just be utilizing the AcuSketch and actually a little bit of AccuEdit as well. These are both free apps available in the iTunes store that you can download for free to any iPad that you have. The great thing about AcuSketch, you can select the AcuSketch. We'll go ahead and open that. Here we are, we've got a blank canvas. So if you're probably better at drawing than me, you could probably sit down and just really start drawing in here. But I like to kind of use different things and different inspiration as I go along for my drawings. So let me walk you through how to set up our drawing canvas a little bit and take you through some of that, and then I'll show you how we can bring in some different inspiration in order to utilize those things. I am going to first walk you through, we're going to go down on the right side of our toolbar here within AcuSketch. So starting at the very top, this is where we can actually set up our canvas. If you know exactly what your hoop size is, you can enter it here, or you can choose the Janome machine that you have. Now, because this is intended to be an app that we can send wirelessly to, the hoops that we have available to show here, it's the 15,000, or you can select the Skyline S9, or if you're not in the US, that would be the Atelier 99, which would be that. So you can select that. I'm going to use the GR hoop today, which is our biggest hoop for the 15,000, but again, you can lay out whatever hoop size, canvas size you would like to by adjusting the width and the height right here. And if you prefer to work in millimeters, you can do that over here on the left as well. When you are done making your changes here, click Create in the bottom right, and that will make your changes to your canvas and here we are ready to go. The next icon on the toolbar on the right is our folder. If you've made designs and you were working on designs and you saved them, this would be where they would show up. You would click that, it would open up a library where you can pull your designs from. I cleared out my library right now. It had a whole bunch of just different playing around elements in it, so if I click on it, it's going to be empty, but your library after a while will have lots of fun designs in it. If we go down from there, the grid, you select that and it will show you the grid on screen, or you can turn that grid back off. Totally up to you on how you prefer to work. The magnifying glass below that can zoom in. If you select that and then you use the slider here, you can zoom in and out of your canvas. This is an iPad, so instead of using the magnifying glass, you can also use your fingers. If you tap your 2 fingers down and spread out, then you can zoom in, pull those 2 fingers back together, and you're zooming back out. You can do that as well to zoom within here. The eye, like the little info eye underneath the magnifying glass right here, when you first open up AcuSketch, it will give you a tour, and you probably noticed that when you first opened up your own app after you downloaded it. If you want to go back to that to have a little bit of a review, this is where you do it. Click the tour and it will take you through those opening pages, the opening little tour of how AcuSketch works. So that can be helpful sometimes if you need a little bit of a review on some of the features. And then the bottom, the little gears, those are our settings. Here we can just change different settings. If you want to change the grid measurement units, if you want to change the border color, you can change that. You can change the drawn lines here. I will tell you that if you select the color here, this color is only how it draws within AcuSketch. This doesn't mean if you change the color here that it will stitch out that color or change to a different color, like if you were doing a flower and you wanted 2 different colors. This is really purely for drawing within AcuSketch. This comes in handy if you've got a design that maybe is a little bit darker and you're having trouble seeing the lines if you're drawing them in black. You might want to draw them in like a white or a red or a yellow so that you can see it better and there's more of a contrast. I'm going to leave it black for today as we're working because the design I'm using is a little bit lighter, but you can change how you're drawing within here. Again, that does not actually change the color of the stitch assigned to it. I'll show you how to do that later, I promise. I'm going to go ahead and click out of here and click done. Now let's move over to the left side. The left toolbar within AcuSketch is really where all the fun happens. Once we've got everything set up, this is where we can really start to play around with our design. And so, oh, Elizabeth, I see your question. Can you use the 500, our 500E? Yes, you can. You just won't be able to send it to it wirelessly. We can send designs from AcuSketch wirelessly to the 15000 and the Skyline S9, but I will show you how and kind of walk you through towards the end how you can take the designs and still be able to get them onto any Janome embroidery machine by transferring it to a USB. All right, so let's dig into drawings. On the left side, we've got a pencil. Pretty self-explanatory. Click the pencil. You can then draw on our canvas. Okay, the next one down from that is the eraser. Now, when I click the eraser, you can see there's actually 2 here. The one that is highlighted is the one that we're using. This one is smaller. If I click this again, I get the bigger eraser. So depending on what you're wanting to erase, you've got 2 different options here for how you're erasing. I'm gonna go back now and erase part of this line that I made. You can see there's my big. Okay, so I can erase that. If I zoom in here, each of those red dots is a stitch point. So if I use my eraser and make it a little smaller, I can say, you know what, I want to get rid of that stitch point. I don't know why that one's so close to that one. We're just going to clean up that edge a little bit. And I'm able to do it that way. If you're drawing and you just decide, you know, I just need to start over again from scratch, down at the very bottom there is a clear. If you click clear, it will clear your entire screen. Let me zoom back out so you can see my whole screen here. Okay, it will clear my entire screen by using the clear. There's also, let me go back to my pencil and just do a drawing really quick. Say I'm like, okay, I'm not really sure what's going on there. I can also undo. There is an undo, which that works great if maybe you're erasing something or trying to clean up a little line and you accidentally clean up a little too much or take away a couple extra points you didn't want to. You can just go back and undo. We all love that undo button. I'm gonna go ahead and undo to clear that. This button right here, this tool, is actually one of my favorites. It gives me a lot more options when I'm drawing. Let me show you what I mean by that. Say I were, and this is, it's a point connection button is what it is. So you can see we've got like a stitch point here and a stitch point here, and right now it shows that they're connected. If I click that, they are no longer connected. Okay, this can make a big difference as we're drawing things. Say I am drawing, let's just say I'm gonna just draw this puddle or puddle shape. Maybe it'll turn into, when I have my connection points on, watch what happens when I get close. Do you see how my tool changes to that orange and the green? If I let go, it automatically connects those points. Let me undo, let me show you that again here. Okay, so we're going along. When I get close to the end, it's going to recognize that I'm close to the end, and if I go ahead and let go, it will auto-complete that, which is really fun, and it can be very helpful. However, sometimes, maybe I don't want to auto-complete, and in that case, I'll turn that off. And as I work on my design today that I'm bringing in, I'll show you how that actually works. Now, the very last thing that I want to show you here as we get going on our design is the way that we can bring in images. So this image picture right there, we click that and it takes us to this screen. We can either click the camera button, which will activate the camera on our iPad, and you can take a picture right from wherever you are. So say you just sketched something out really quick and you want to take a photo, or maybe you have an applique design that you want to just take a photo of really quick. You can do that very easily. You click the camera and it activates your camera, take a picture, the picture shows up here, and you're good to go. In this case, I've got a design, and this is the same design that we've got on our blog that I think Ann will be able to post a link here in a second if you weren't able to get it earlier before we started. I've got a design that I'm going to be working on today that you guys can play around with as well. When I click this, it will open up the photos and things that are on my iPad. So I can click, I'm going to click my favorites right here, okay, and then we're going to work on this one today. I'm going to show you how. We bring it in, and right here we're not actually even stuck with it right where it's at. Say I want to bring it down here because maybe I'm going to add a quote on the top with my built-in text on my machine, or maybe I want this a little bit bigger. Okay, you can use your fingers to move it around, which is what I'm doing right now, so you can't see me actually pressing anything on the toolbar on the right. You can use your fingers to zoom in and out, okay? And you can also do things like rotate by using these tools over here, okay? So lots of different ways to get at how you want it to look. I'm going to do this right here, and I think this looks good. Early on when I used the app, I would automatically say, okay, I'm done, and then cancel. cancel's not going to save any of your changes. So go up to the top right and click done. And when you click done, it's going to bring our design right back here. So here we are. Now we're ready to trace. So let me show you what I like to do as I'm working on a design. I can take this entire design right now and trace all of the different elements on it with my stylus and then be able to send it directly to my machine. When I do that, I will not have the option of changing the stitch colors. In this case, I've got some leaves, and I think it would be fun to maybe add a couple different shades of green. And I've got two different flowers, which I think would be fun as different colors, plus the middle part of the flowers would also be good in different colors. So how can I get these different colors? I'm going to show you how, but you have to keep that in mind as you're drawing the different elements. Each element that's a different color, you'll want to draw separately. So in this case, I'm going to zoom in a little bit and we'll work on one of these leaves. I know that I want this leaf right here in the middle to be one color, okay? So I'm going to draw that. I, right now, am going to turn on my auto connect point button because I want a nice clean line when I go and do my outline of this leaf. Okay, as I'm going around, I want that to auto complete when I get back to the end. And do you see that? That auto completes for me. But when I'm doing the little veins of the leaf, watch what happens if I leave auto connect on, and I think you'll see why it's sometimes good to be able to turn that feature off. I will come down here and draw, and then come back up here. And then when I come here, sometimes if I get too close to a point, like maybe I'm adding, do you see how it wants to auto connect there? Well, that's not really what I want. So I am able to, we'll go back and do these veins. In this case, for these veins, I would like to turn it off. So let's do this line down the middle here. And then we'll add in my veins. And I love this drawing. I've played around with this particular design a lot. It kind of has a sketch quality feel to it already. And so by adding in your drawings on top of it, just as you're tracing it, essentially, you still get a really nice sketch quality to it. Okay, so that looks pretty simple, but that's actually, I think this will stitch really nicely. What I would like to do, though, one last thing on here before I take it into stitch mode and show you stitch mode, is to fill in this stem part a little bit. Right now, it's going to stitch as 2 straight stitches. So just so that I can fill it in a little more with color when I stitch it out, we'll come down here and fill it in a little bit with some more lines. There we go. Okay. All right. And it looks like somehow I got a little stray line over there. We'll just erase that part. Okay, so let's take this right now and pull it into stitch mode. So up at the top right, we've got stitch. We'll click stitch. And here we are. I love that it shows you what it looks like without the original drawing behind it, so you can really see what it looks like. You can, over here with the toggle switch with line drawing, you can turn that back on so you can get a comparison as to how the original design was versus what you're doing. You can also kind of see my original drawing is red. Let me zoom in a little bit, okay? And you can see how it's going to change it into stitches with the black. Now this is important because sometimes you may want a little bit more connection or a little bit more of a curve, and in that case you can adjust your stitches down here. So watch what happens when I make the stitches longer. Do you see how it kind of changes the shape some? especially down here. If you watch this point, depending on how big or small I make the stitches, do you see how some, depending on the length of the stitch, you can make it more clean, clean looking or not. So I can get it to, I think that actually looks really good right there. We've got a nice clean point here. It makes up for my not perfect tracing, which is a great feature. Down here on the bottom, you can also turn on your lock stitch. Personally, I leave this on all the time for what I usually do with it. And this lock stitch, when it's on, it will be white. If you turn it off, you can see it's not selected anymore. Okay, we'll turn that back on. That is going to go ahead and auto add lock stitches to the beginning and ending of all your stitches, which is something more often than not you will want. So I typically leave this on. The other really awesome thing that I wanted to show you is when you first install AcuSketch, down here at the bottom, you will have the option of a single stitch only. You can add more stitches. So if yours only has a single stitch, that's because that's what it came with. There is a little add-on, and I think it's just a few dollars, and to me it's extremely worth it to purchase those, because you've got different elements that you can work with. So your triple stitch is obviously going to give you a thicker line here, and your zigzag stitch, in this case it looks kind of weird, but sometimes that zigzag stitch really works well to fill in colored shapes. And we've also got a stem stitch option, which stem stitch kind of on this leaf looks pretty cool. I'm gonna go back and just use my triple stitch. And with any of these, you can see, like on the zigzag, I can adjust down here at the bottom the width and the length of the stitch, as well as reversing kind of which way that zigzag is going. So you have lots of different options there. Isn't that fun? Okay, so let me go ahead. Let's take this. I'm going to change it to a triple stitch here. Now, here is where, if I have a wireless machine, I can click send at the top right. If I click send here, my sewing machine, if my sewing machine is on and ready, which my sewing machine is not on right now, but if it were ready, it would show right here, and I would be able to click my sewing machine and send it directly, and it's ready to stitch out. That's it. Very, very easy to do wirelessly. If I want to change the color of this and maybe go back and add some of our flowers as well, I'll want to send this design to AccuEdit, and that's very easy to do. Underneath the send, we've got our export. So we'll click our export button, which is the box with the up arrow. Click that, and we can copy and open directly in AccuEdit. So let's click that. Our AccuEdit opens, and here it is. I love this feature, and you'll see why later. Do you see how it did not bring my design into the very center of my drawing? It actually preserves where it is located within your design. So that means when I go back and I add on my other leaves and my flower, it will bring them in right where they should be in AccuEdit based on my design. It's not going to stack everything in the middle and then make me have to move everything around how I want it. It's going to put it right where it should be, which I just love that feature. All right, so I'm gonna leave this black for now, just as we brought it in. Let's go back to our AcuSketch here, okay? And let's do a couple more elements. Let's bring them in, and then I'll show you in AccuEdit how we can change the colors, and we'll go from there. So once I come back into my AcuSketch app from AccuEdit, it still is on this screen right here. What I want to do is go back to my drawing. So click Drawing on the upper left, and it will take you back to the drawing. Now I've already done this leaf and I have it done, so I'm going to click clear at the bottom left, okay, clear that out. Let's go and add in this leaf over here. So we'll turn my drawing on, we'll zoom in a little bit. I'm going to do this, and this is another line I think I'm I'll want a little thicker. So we're gonna add some thickness to it by adding a couple lines close to each other. Okay, there we go. That'll give us a really pretty line once we've added our color to it. And the other thing I want to do with this particular leaf and stem design, I drew that part of the stem without my auto points on. I'm going to turn the auto point on now so that when I draw each leaf, I'll get a nice point where they end. So we'll come up here and it comes back and I get a nice clean point. Do you see that? So this leaf actually kind of comes like this, and that's going to close that point. They're just kind of these elongated ovals. So do you see how easy that is? I don't have to get it super close. Once I get it close enough, AcuSketch will recognize that I'm close and it will auto complete for me. Let me do these leaves here just really quickly. There we are. Okay, we've got this. I decided I want the inside of these leaves, these little lines right here, to be a different color. So I'm going to only bring this part right now into AccuEdit. To do that, again, we'll go up here to Stitch on the top right. We can adjust our stitch length how we want it. And do you see how if I use a really long stitch length, I don't get the nice, clean, curved edges that I want. But if I turn down my stitch length, I can get some really nice looking curved leaves there. Yeah, that looks really nice. Okay, and we are going to take this into AccuEdit, so we'll use our export, AccuEdit, and look at that. Do you see how it brought it in next to my design, not right on top? I love being able to have that ability to do that. All right, so let's go back and go to AcuSketch. We'll go back to our drawing. You can copy and paste within AccuEdit, yes, very easily. You can do that. So if you have one of each of these elements and want to copy, paste, make smaller or larger, you can within AccuEdit, absolutely. Here in AcuSketch, it really is just sketching and then being able to take into AccuEdit to change colors, things like that. All right, so let's clear this. Let's quickly add in these lines in the middle because I think I want those to be a different color. All right, so let's take those little, it doesn't look like much, but that's okay. Once we get it pulled over back into our AccuEdit, we've got those lines in. Okay, let's go and add in one flower, and then we will, let's see. I'm gonna do this flower and then we'll move it. All right, I think that I only want the outline of this to be one color. So we'll go ahead and just take this into AccuEdit right there and go back. We'll add the other elements of this really quick. And so this process is just the same. We're drawing each element that we want the colors to be. Stitch there. Okay, there's that. We'll select the middle of that, and then let me show you the center of the flower here. I know that I want the center of the flower to be filled in, so instead of drawing this circle and stopping, I'm actually going to draw a couple of concentric circles, or just kind of start to fill it in a little bit. I might have to zoom in to get those. Okay, so see how I did that? And then when I go to stitch, this is a great, the triple stitch doesn't look like much, especially for a flower center, but watch when I change to the zigzag. How fun is that? Isn't that great that you can add in that and then be able to adjust how it looks? What a fun flower center that is. Ooh, that looks really cool. Let's see that one. All right, we'll send this over as well. All right, and there, and do you see how Remember how I told you before? It didn't bring everything to the middle. Now within my AccuEdit app, everything is pretty much set where I want it. This is a pretty simple, I didn't do all the flowers because again, I don't think you guys want to see me drawing all day long here. Maybe you do, maybe, but all right, here we go. So we're going to, we've got these and I'm just moving them within iPad using my toolbox right here, my move, okay? Now we've got this. This is what will be my main design. If I stitch it out right now, it's just gonna stitch it out all black, which, I mean, could be fun. You could stitch it out all in the same color if you wanted to, or it could be a little bit of a quilting element on top of a little zippered pouch or something, but I like color. So let me show you how to change the colors in here. We can select one of the shapes. So let's do this leaf first, and then down at the very bottom, down here, you've got a color palette. It's my favorite button probably in here. And we've got different colors that we can utilize and pick from here. And so let's do this one. Let's do this on a green. And then at the top, we'll click done. So there we go. Yay, we've got it. It's a green stitch right now. How easy was that? Then we can come to our other elements. I know that I want the center of my little florals to be a lighter green. So I'm gonna give those a lighter green, and then the outside part a darker green. Okay, and again, all I'm doing is selecting each element. Okay, do you see how here's the outside of my flower? Then I've got the little colored parts and then the center. So I'll select each part of my element that I drew. Down at the bottom again, click my color palette, and let's do this one. Let's just do a pink. All right, so pink, and then the little other portions, let's do a lighter pink. There we go. And then the center, let's do a fun, like a marigold kind of orangey yellow. Cool. All right. So there's my design. My design is done. At this point, if I want to, I can, make it larger or smaller. Copy, maybe I want to take this leaf. I'll come to my toolbar here and copy. That made another one that I can then, turn, maybe make a little bit smaller and put over here, or layer with this one, and then maybe make it a different color. So you can do all of that. This is really fun, especially like if you're going to use a couple of the flowers or a couple of the leaves. You can draw them once and then bring them into the other free app. Oh, I wanted that one a little darker. Bring them into the other free app right here and be able to then just really play around with it, and it's ready to go. From here again, you can send this directly to your machine, but you'll always save first. So to save within our AccuEdit, you'll come up to the top left, and there's another little export button. When you select that, you can just click save. If you click send, it'll pull up and let you send it to your machine that is wireless. Save is what we want to do to be able to grab your design from the app itself to transfer it via USB. Okay, so we'll just click save. And at the top, this is the auto-generated name of the file that it's saved. Can you see that at the top there? There's a 2018, and let me give you a little hint. If you were wondering why those numbers seem so random, they're actually not random at all. Let me show you. Let's break it down a little bit. The first four are the year, so it's 2018. October, and then October 10th right there. Okay, so you've got your year, a 4-digit year, and then the month and the day. So it's really easy to see. So that there's your little file cheat for you. And then the other numbers are actually the time. So it's my time zone right now, it's 11:14, and we saved it at 47 seconds exactly. That is a little hint there for your file naming, that it gives the names of what you save within AccuEdit. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much it. Let me go back. I want to show you, actually within here, let me show you. Down here next to the color palette, there's also a layering. If you click that, you can change the layers. For instance, if the center of my flower here was showing up maybe underneath the flower instead of on top, I can click and drag and make sure that it's going on top. Whatever is at the top of the list here will stitch first, and then it will continue going down and stitching. Okay, so this is how you can adjust and make sure what you want on top is on top, what you want on bottom is on bottom. It's super easy to do here, and then you can go and save any adjustments from there. Okay, and then it's ready to stitch. So let me show you. Let's do I am going to, let's do create new design. Then I'm going to show you the one that I worked on, and then I'll show you the finished project. We'll switch back to the video. Down at the bottom, you can click design, and then you can see here's the design I just saved. Here's one that I was working on earlier. So I can select that, and it brings it up right here for me. So this is the full design, the sample drawing. I have my design right here, so let me show you. You can see that I was able to bring in each part separately. So within, just remember when you're in AcuSketch that you will want to, if you are doing different colors for this, draw each part separately. And it might feel like you're going overboard, but it's always better to have the options later on instead of drawing, for instance, this entire Japanese maple leaf in one color. You may decide, like I did, that I want the outline one color, and I might want the choice to make the inside a different color. And so that's why I made it 2 different types. So when I brought it in here, okay, and you can zoom in and we can see, do you see now I've got some depth to it because I had that choice by bringing them separately to do different colors. But I've loved playing around with this app. I did some stuff for Father's Day for some of my friends. Their kiddos gave me some of their drawings, and then we made them into aprons. So, hey guys, you can see my face again, not just hear my voice. So I was able to take that design that we were just looking at and then turn that into a design. And do you see how awesome that looks with the colors? And that's all from this free app. Between working with AcuSketch and AccuEdit, I was able to take this design, and we've got the design on our blog. So if you go to the blog, you have this actual design, the black version that you can trace and be able to play around and make it your own. And I was able to take this and do my machine stitching on it and make it into a really fun denim and cork zippered clutch pouch type thing. So it's really, really fun. There's so many different ways that you can use this app. And hopefully we'll be back soon. We've got some ideas for some different things to show you on how to be able to use AcuSketch with that. And I'm just really excited that you guys were able to join us. I do have a surprise for you, those of you that stuck around to the end. Anne will post the link here in the comments in a second, and you can check the Janome blog, but I did add some more photos or some more images for you guys to practice with. So you'll find on the blog just a series of some different florals and leaves that you can play around with, copy, paste, make your own little floral bouquets that are a little bit different than the one that I showed you today and that you practice on. So go check that out, go find it, and then be sure to post on Instagram or Facebook as you're using the AcuSketch app, so that we can see. You can just use hashtag AcuSketch. That way we can see what you guys have been working on, and then I also watch that, so if you have questions there too, if you've tagged that, I'm able to more quickly see those questions and be able to help you guys out and get you going on this. So I'm really excited to see what you come up with. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today, and we will see you again soon, because we do have a lot more fun things to share with you with being able to use these apps. So have a great day. Thanks again.